Hello guys, welcome to a new wee series I'm running here, an introduction to modular 3D design. Now this is very much aimed at beginners. There's some brilliant videos on YouTube I'm going to link to and talk to you about, but this first little video and this little series just to introduce you to the concepts. So what I'll do is I'll take you through 3D Studio Max, show you a few examples of what we mean by modular design, and then I'll show you a live project and show you a few tips on how to model some things for modular design. What is modular design? If you play video games at all, you have seen modular design. You might not have realized it, but you've seen it. And if you're getting into making video games, particularly 3D modeling, texturing, or level creation, you're going to be working with modular design. You wouldn't really see it as much with maybe smaller prop design, or you wouldn't see it with character design, but environments is very, very common. So this video mainly goes out to my 3D environment guys, but really, really useful for anyone that's wanting to learn some more 3D modeling tips. So let's look over to 3D Studio Max here now, and I'll show you just a little very, very basic idea of what modular design could be. So I've made this model here. Use your imagination. This could be a fence around a garden. It could be a city wall around a medieval city, something like that. And when we do modular design, we've got this big city wall. Let's say it's a city wall. Now this could be half a mile across by half a mile in the other direction. So very, very massive. Obviously, when we model something, we have to put a texture on it. And those textures would have a resolution of, say, maybe 2048 by 2048 pixels, which is grand if you're doing a car or a lamppost or a character, but you can't texture an entire half a mile long building with 2048 pixels. It would get very, very blurry. So instead of this being all built as one big object, which is then textured with one texture, we break it down into smaller pieces. So we've got this big complex shape here, but if you look at it, all it really is these two pieces. We've got this kind of tower shape and we've got this wall shape. Everything here is comprised of those two shapes. And what this is, we've got a very simple modular kit, and we can assemble whatever we want with that modular kit. Now, within reason, we can play about with these shapes. I could make one of them, say, just a little bit bigger, say something like that. I could make some of them a little bit smaller, and then that would give us more variety with what we could do with our modular kit. We don't want to break it too far because at the end of the day, they are still textured, and if you expand it or shrink it, it can distort those textures a wee bit. But with a modular kit, we can basically take a small number of elements and build a large number of things. Now, this is beneficial for a couple of reasons. Think of it like Lego. If you had 20 different Lego bricks, you could produce 500 different models with those Lego bricks. So you're only really limited by your imagination. Now, obviously, the more bricks you have, the more different types of bricks, the more different types of things you can create. So, for example, this little example here, we are limited in what we could create. And if we had more variety, we would obviously be able to build a wider variety of stuff. But the principles of modular design still apply. What was I going to say? I had something in mind I was going to say there. I can't remember. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. So, very, very simple modular kit. Oh yeah, the other benefit, that's what I was going to say. The other benefit of this is, rather than having to texture this whole thing, all I need to do is texture this object and texture this object, and that'll give me good texture density, good texel density, and then that'll be repeated across each of these. So how the process works is, in 3D Studio Max, I'm not really actually going to assemble this whole shape in 3D Studio Max. All I'm going to do is create these two shapes, and then I'm going to texture them, and then I'm going to export those into my game engine, such as Unreal. And assemble this whole city wall in Unreal or in Unity, whatever engine you're using. So really, when it comes to 3D Studio Max, I don't want the rest of this. All I want is these two. Now, I can certainly test it out in 3D Studio Max, but that's not what will be exported. Some of my students, when they're beginning, they tend to think that they do have to assemble everything. So say they're making an office building, they'll make the entire office building and they'll duplicate every chair and they'll duplicate every desk and stuff in 3D Studio Max and try and bulk export that into Unity or whatever. And that's not the way you want to do it. What you want to do is you just want to model one of each thing in 3D Studio Max, unwrap it. You can take it into Substance Painter to texture it or whatever way you want to texture it. but we just want to take one of each object into our game engine. And then, as I say, it's like Lego bricks. So in 3D Studio Max, we're making those individual Lego bricks, and then in Unreal, we're assembling those Lego bricks into the different models. So let me just load up another file here. I'll just pause for a little second. And we're back. Okay, so just open up another file there. This is actually a modular kit that I have been working on in my spare time. And as you can see, it's kind of a red brick building, very plain, not much decoration, but just to show the kind of principles of modular design. So this is one big building, but it is actually made out of lots of smaller parts. If I hover over there, you can see all the different parts that it's made of. And what I've done is I've broken this down into sections that are exactly 1 meter by 1 meter, or in some cases 2 meters by 2 meters, but always in sizes that can be divided into each other. And what's going on here, if I just scroll over to the side, you'll actually see the individual pieces that I've made. And what I've done is I've just made one of each piece of the building, each unique piece that I might need. So you can see here we've got a corner piece, and it has those kind of big bricks on it in the corner. We have a base piece. We have a base corner piece. And we have things like just a plain section of wall, just plain brick. We have plain brick, but with a little ridge down at the bottom. We have a little piece just with a window fit inside it. We have our door piece. We have larger windows. And the beauty of this is I just keep making more and more pieces. So we can make some plain stone concrete pieces, concrete piece with a window in it. And these are all just fitting to the same grid size, the same base tile size. So as I say, I worked with the first one I created was my plain brick, which was 1 meter by 1 meter. And if you're doing this, you could make your building sections 3 meters by 3 meters, 2 by 2, whatever you want. I just picked 1 by 1 because it's easy to kind of wrap those numbers around your head. And you can see here how it works. Rather than me modeling this entire building, I just model small pieces of it and then copy paste those pieces. I'll use my snaps tool just to snap one corner to one corner, make sure they all line up together. But that's really all there is to it. It's actually a very simple concept. Now, you can see I haven't even finished the building here. I've only done this near side. But you can see, in theory, it's actually quite simple what's going on here. We just take our individual pieces, as I say, like those individual Lego bricks, and we just copy them and repeat them as many times as we want. Now, the beauty of this is, with this one little set here, say I was making a game like Grand Theft Auto or Spider-Man or anything else open world, I could repeat this set. I could use these little pieces just to make 24 buildings, all from the one set of pieces. So I could make a much smaller building. I could make maybe a 2-story building, or I could turn this into a 10-story building. I could have a building that doesn't have these white concrete sections. I could even, in fact, if I had 2 different modular kits, if I had one that was a concrete and glass building, and I had one that was a red brick building, as long as they were made kind of similar grids and made in a way that they were compatible with each other, I could have a half brick building and a half metal building. I could do whatever I want as long as those modular pieces all kind of fit together. And it's like I say, the more pieces you have, the more variety you get. But even with a small number of pieces, you can create a large number of unique models. So this is very handy for quickly assembling a city together, for example. I could make 12 buildings just from this one wee small set of pieces that are pre-textured, pre-made, pre-modeled, etc. So my role in the games company might just be as a level assembler, and the 3D modeler and the texture artist, they will create all these little individual pieces here, and then my job is just to take all those pieces and assemble them into final buildings. So your job, you could be the guy doing the actual modeling, or you could be the concept artist coming up with the ideas for the modular pieces. You could be the texture artist, but it all works towards this one end goal of having a modular system where you can create multiple things. And it's a much faster, it's a much more creative way of making your models, and it's also that little bit more efficient on your game engine, particularly in consoles and things. Because if we look at these models, you can see they are brick and concrete. I'm going to show you the little texture that I used for these now. Warning, this is a very, very basic, very crappy texture. It's not AAA standard at all. It was just a little experimental texture I made, just using some photos that I got off the internet. And you can see here we've got a little row of bricks, we've got a row of concrete, and we've got a couple of square pieces here. This one kind of for the rooftop surface, and this one for another rooftop surface if it's a flat roof you can walk on. Now notice here that my bricks, this is a wide tiling strip that can actually tile horizontally, and same for this concrete here. If you place this side by side, it will tile horizontally. These pieces don't tile because they don't continue right to the ends here, but the brick is designed to tile, and the sizing here is very, very important. So let me show you how that actually applies to those little models I made. If I just look at my plain wall piece here, and I'll hide everything else. Nope, wrong one. Unhide all. Hide unselected. What? Unhide all. Select it first. Hide unselected. There we go. So this little shape here, if we look back at my texture, notice how I've got 4 rows of bricks. And we'll come back to our wall. What this little one piece is yes, that's fine. What this one little piece is just 4 polygons. My computer's slow here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've just sliced this horizontally equally in 4 directions. That means that if it's a 1 meter tile, it will, okay, come on, hang on. Oh great, I've just broken it. But what this means is if it's a 1 meter tile, why did that undo? That's very strange. No. I'm not saving anyway. Come on, center. My computer's chugging so badly, there's so much going on here, I do apologise. What this means is that we have 4 sections, each 25 centimeters in size. Why did that do that? Okay, I'm going to look at it. Okay, my computer is just deciding to completely crap itself here. Perfect. Okay, move over to this one. This one is the same. 4 equal segments. 1, 2, 3, and then the bottom little segment, 25 centimeters. The top section here, 25 centimeters, I fit 4 bricks into that, and then I've just repeated those bricks downwards. Let me see if I can fix this just while I'm talking to you. Why did that do that? That shouldn't have done that. Let's see. So, in fact, I can actually just show you as I fix here what we're doing. I try to keep this to a real-world scale, and I know that from experience, a brick is about 75 millimeters tall, which means 4 bricks should be about 300 millimeters tall or 30 centimeters tall. Now, my strips, as I have made them, are 25 centimeters. So a little bit smaller than the 30 centimeters, but close enough that we can eyeball it, will make no difference. So if I just pull this back up here, and I'll show you what I've done. Each one of these strips, now where's my other little strip here? Why does it not let me select these? Where are my 4 strips? Hang on. Let me select you again. Go here. Select all of these polygons. Okay, is this separated? What's going on here? This is glitched. You know what I'm going to do? Let me just reload this. Okay, sorry about that. I just reloaded it. My Mac's getting a bit glitchy there. It was a bit slow, a bit chuggy. Where was it? Yes, I was going to show you how this is actually broken down. If I go into my Polygon Modes here, so you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 horizontal strips. And if I select all of these, and I open my UV editor, these 4 strips are all just laid on top of each other along that section of brick. on the UV map. So each one of these, they are just laid on top of each other. And if I was to move one of them, you'll see if I move this one, it now becomes the concrete, which is similar to what we've done in this little piece beside here. There's a little bit more modeling detail, but effectively that's all it is. Just these polygons are placed over the horizontal strip of concrete. If I do that and hit Control Z to fix U, and the other thing, if we come over here and look at, say, some of our roof tiles, oops, my computer is really not liking having all this geometry open. Okay, here, so we have this roof tile. Select U, and we can see that these are also just small pieces that are, oh god, it's really chugging here. But hopefully you can see that grid. They're just those small pieces, 1 meter by 1 meter tiles that have the different parts of that texture mapped to them. So the little flagstones or the sort of the roof felt there. And the rest of it is really just placing different pieces along those pieces of brick or along pieces of concrete. And it's just about being clever with your unwrap. If my computer would ever catch up with the rest of the world here, I could hopefully show you that. So let me see this little window section here. Take your time. If we look at the unwrap for this, now the window itself is not unwrapped yet. This does not need to be part of that same texture. I can actually use a separate texture for the window details. And if I was going to have, say, little air conditioning units or fire escapes and stuff like that that were going to be steel and metal, I could have a separate trim sheet. This type of texture is called a trim sheet, where we have different trims across it. I could have a different trim sheet, whoops, for those other materials. So you don't have to have everything using exactly one texture. Individual objects can use other textures. But let's take a little look at the unwrap here for this. All we really have to do is be clever with how we snip these sections and how we place them on that texture. My 3D Max taking its sweet time here. There we go. So you can see, if I go to my polygon mode, any of these polygons, we just have them lined up nicely. And you'll see I've tried to be clever here with how the sizes actually line up. We get one full strip here. And now that I look at it, I'm just looking at this and the size is way off, because in a 1 meter strip there should only be about 4 bricks now, I think, on it. But again, the blind man on a galloping horse won't actually notice that, so it's not really a big deal. But we try and line it up so that our edges tile, and these little strips here, we do the same. We line them up so that the edges tile, and even where it curls round here. So in reality, we wouldn't have this little bit of mortar here at this corner. That would just be one continuous brick. But again, it's such a small detail, you're not really going to notice. But we'll try and keep these all scaled up nicely. We'll stick this one here on the right hand side of our UV map, and this one here on the left side, so that they kind of tally up with what's going on with the rest of the map here. There's nothing really complicated there. I don't want to get into it too much in this intro video. We're already going on about 20 minutes. So I kind of want to wrap it there actually. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you, I'm going to do an actual live modeling of how to make some of these pieces. And then we'll get into more of the nitty gritty. This, I just wanted this to be a little introduction video. So we'll maybe actually just leave it there. Just final thoughts on modular systems. We've looked at buildings there, but modular kits do exist in lots and lots of things. If you've played No Man's Sky, all of those ships are made up of modular pieces. So not quite as small as, say, we've got 1 by 1 meter pieces here, but 3D No Man's Sky will have maybe 10 or 20 different engine shapes, 10 or 20 different cockpit shapes, 10 or 20 different wing shapes, and then it's just kind of smooshing them all together. Now there's a certain amount of pre-configuration there, so certain engines won't fit with certain other engines, so you get your different classes of ship and things like that, but it is all modular. And we can apply it to other things. We could apply it to weapons as well. We could apply it to environmental props. So if you have a pipe system running around your level, that would very much be made of small modular pieces that can be connected and clipped together. So you have a straight piece and a bendy piece, etc. Other examples, if you played any of the Fallout games, those the likes of the vaults, those rooms are all modular pieces that can then click together. But even without doing entire rooms, you can just have a section of vault wall, a section of vault ceiling, and click them together to get small rooms, big rooms, whatever you need. Same way this kit can be used to get a small building or a big building, just the number of pieces you use to make it bigger and bigger. So yeah, modular for environments. It can be used for interiors as well as exteriors. So any kind of sci-fi corridors or spaceships, they would all be very modular in design. And I'll maybe try and do a few videos looking at different examples, little live projects that we'll go through. If you look in my 3D assets tutorials playlist, not right now, but in future there should be some in there if I build some. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Hopefully that's given you a nice little idea of modular design, what it's used for and how useful it is. I'll see you for the next videos where we actually get hands-on and actually make something. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please look down below. I'm also going to link you to some excellent videos on modular design that I've found, particularly with the texturing from a guy called Tim Simpson. He is a working 3D professional. So if you like this stuff, if you like my basic tutorials, his work is fantastic. It's got to be that little level above what I'll be doing. I'm very much a beginner. His is AAA produced stuff, so very much recommend if you like this, or if you have a little bit of beginner understanding, check out his work, and I will link that down below. Okay, we'll leave it there, and I will see you later on, guys. Thank you very much.